today about class websites, and I'm kind of incorporating class blogs into there too, just because some people will use one and some people use the other, and in the end it's kind of like the same thing, just in a different format. So I just have some examples, and these are honestly some I just found online, just Googling best class blogs. This is actually, so I work for Provo School District right now as an eSchool aide, and this is my teacher's class blog. So Miss Howland's eSchool class, and then she just has, so this is something else that technology-wise that you can do. Like every semester, so like once in the fall and then once in January, we do a class magazine to where students actually give us what you could do it in your own classroom. Like just take pictures of artwork and papers that they've written. And so I'll just show you this really quick just so you can get like a, so it's just like their stories about each student, and then they just submit a bunch of stuff. So that's just different. And that's free. It's like a free online thing. It's called Jillster, if you want to write that down. So then she just posts like field trips, pictures from the field trips. As you can see kind of from these pictures, they don't ever have like a direct facial, because there's like, you just can't do that unless it's private. So since hers isn't private, you can't really see a ton of faces, so you have to be careful about that. So these are just virtual field trips. They can do Hee-Haw Farms. So that was one of them.
I have a question. Who is this blog for? Is it for the parents, or is it like her own?
It's for the parents, so they can go in and see like field trips and stuff like that.
So then why isn't it private?
Yeah, I think just because she didn't show any faces, so she can make it not private.
So other people can see
Yeah,
it.
so other
like
people can
this.
see it.
Because I feel like if I was making it for the parents, I would make it private. So then they could actually see pictures of it.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm planning on doing. Like, I'm doing a class blog. I don't think I created it yet, but I was talking to my facilitator at school about it. And so what I'm doing is, because I want my class blog to be more meaningful for the students than it is just for me, as like a place to like blog what is going on in the class. So how I'm incorporating students in is my student of the week. They are going to get to either post like a piece of their writing and then put it on there, so that way they get practice typing, because a lot of my kids need practice typing. Or they can take a picture of their artwork that they've been working on and submit it. So that way the student of the week kind of gets a little extra in, and so it's their week to take control of the blog and like put whatever they want onto it. So that's how I'm doing it. But I'm doing it through Blogger, and I'm making it private to where all the parents have to do is like go and there's like this button that they push, and then I just give them access. So that's how I'm planning on doing it, just to keep it private.
Do you have to get permission slips from all the parents?
I bet you would think
that
so.
You can obviously.
Yeah, especially if it's, well, you would for sure have to do it if it's not private.
But even if it is private,
I bet you still would have to.
With the other parents.
Yeah. So that would just be something that you'd have to talk to your principal about and see how he felt. So like this is just one. And I've kind of tried to get different kinds of, so this is just like, there was one thing I liked about this that we're going to talk about later. So she has it in Spanish. So that way kids in Spanish can also, their parents can also read it. And then they have like all these links that they can go to. And then I love this, like meet the teacher, weekly snapshots, calendar, homework help. So all this stuff we're going to talk about later. But I just really liked how they incorporated that in here. Math helps. And these are all just links. Seasonal activities and holiday pages, science and social studies, whales, tigers. So I just really like this blog purely for all of these links that she provided. I love that. Let's see what this one. Really just found, you can make it as cute as you want, spend as much time as you want on it. So then this, I think this one's more for her, because it's like for teacher pre-teacher stuff. But I liked it because it gives you like things that she made for her class, and how she decorated for her class. Just sweet things that she did. So those are just a few examples. And I mean, like I said, you can always go online and see a ton more. There's a ton. Places to create websites. So there's many different places, I'm sure, that you guys know that where you can go and create websites. My school district doesn't let you get on Blogger unless you have teacher access. So that's why when I do my student of the week, they're just going to type it in a Word document, and then I'm going to copy and paste it, so that way I can just upload it on. So that way they're not actually like getting into my blog, because they can change things very easily. So they're just going to give it to me, and then I'm just going to upload it. So some of the ones that they tell you about on this website, Google Sites, which we played with last IPNT, so I won't talk about that too much. So if you like Google Sites, you can use that one. Weebly for education. This one does work with my school district. Webs. There's a ton. Yola, School Rat, and all of these go in and you can like explore them. I didn't want to go through each one because that would take years. WordPress, this one's really clean looking. For me, it's not super fun. It's just kind of like, I mean, I'm sure you can make it fun, but I kind of want my colorful and happy. EduBlog, I've actually played around with KidBlog a little bit, because that one does give access through without having the teacher permission. Blogster, played around with that one. So I'm going to send you guys this link so you can go through and find which one best suits your class, because everyone's different. And everyone likes something, especially depending on what grade you're teaching and what kind of parents you have. I think that makes a big difference too.
Okay. So some of the specific features to include in it, and you can add to this as well, depending on what your parents need. And that's really what the class website is for the parents. And it's kind of like a portal into your classroom, and it's a guide to like help them help themselves and help their own children too. So just some key things: calendar, anything that's coming up. It's good to have like one place that they can go and look and see like what's going on. If you have any parent signups that you do, like a back to school night or things like that, it's a good idea to post that. So like if they're like me and forget, they can like go and check and see if it's there. Homework, any helps that you can send home with them. If you're learning a specific method, maybe it's a good idea to post it on there. Like a specific a way to do math or something. If you post instructions for there, then parents are then empowered to help their children in good ways. Feedback and contact options, you can include email. Like there's some of the sites that allow you to them to create like forum posts, so like parents can talk to each other right on there. Or if you wanted to start one or something like that, you could do that. There's just a bunch of different options, but you should have some way for them to contact you, or you could even put up polls of like, hey, we did this activity, like what did you guys think of it, you know, and like, or we're thinking about doing this or this for our classroom, what do you guys think, you know, just to like include them. The main part should be some sort of like blog newsletter, just so they know what's happening in the classroom, some fun things you've done, the pictures, you know, things like that, just so they feel a part of the classroom. Any important papers, field trip papers, permission slips, anything like that, like if you post it on there, then if little sweet Johnny loses his, they can just go and print it off again, you know, instead of you having to constantly be the one to do it. It's just a big time saver. Including any educational websites or other outside resources that could help their students. I know Jessica has her like homework help thing, and on there she posted additional things. So if some parents are like, well, I feel like my kid's not getting enough, then they can go on and find those additional resources, and you can provide them and kind of look ahead of time to know what's good and what's bad. And if you give them the ones that you think are good, then you know it's a little bit safer. Links to the Common Core is a good idea, just so parents can see that like what you're teaching is actually in the core, and you know, things like that. Student spotlights, kind of what Shelby was talking about like the student of the week. Have some sort of way to incorporate that into, if that's something that you're doing in your classroom, putting it on your blog or your website is a great way to do that. And one of the things that all the websites I looked on for like specific features to put in, all of them talked about timeliness and organization. So if you're going to take on having a classroom website, it's really important that you organize it very well so it's easy to use for parents, and also that like you keep it up to date, or have some sort of system to keep it up to date, because if you post a great thing in August and then you don't really touch it until January, parents, it's not going to be a good resource. So it's a good idea, but it's something that you have to stay on top of and can't really be lost in it. And I included the link on there. Maybe we'll just share this whole
we'll just share this
presentation with you guys, because that like explains some of those specific features a little bit in more depth. We were gonna give you guys time to start working on one, but we think maybe it's time to
Just about it. Well, you've got a few minutes if...
I just think,
I
like,
support
I'm
you.
so excited to do a blog, and I'm not even, because I work at a Title I school, and so, honestly, like, hardly any of my families at home have access to computers. And so, I'm doing it more for, like, my kids, because I want them to feel like they're important, and so that's why I'm doing, like, they can type their work and then put it on there. And then for me, it's good to look back 20 years from now. I know you can make, like, books from blogs, so if you just use Blogger, I've done it with my personal blog, you can just print it out, and it's, like, $20, and then you have that whole year, like, just there in a book, so you can go back and remember it. So I'm doing it more for me and for my students to practice typing, because that's some skill that the third grade teachers told us that they really need us to work on in second grade, because they go straight into testing in third grade where it's on the computer. So going from having no like practice typing on the computer to having to type an essay on the computer is kind of a big transition. So that's just the way that I'm trying to incorporate it. So it really just depends on your class and your parents and how you want to use it. And you don't even have to have one. I don't even think you're required to have one. So it really is just personal preference.
Do you have any questions for us?
You did a good job of covering it.
Awesome. Are you doing next?